welcome, 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 my Renegade family, my Power Ranger friends. It's Morphin Monday, and you know what that means. We're painting Power Rangers from Heroes of the Grid by Renegade. It's a beautiful day here in New England. Hopefully it's a beautiful day wherever you are. Today we are going to be painting King Sphinx. I did a poll up on Renegade's Facebook page, their Power Ranger Facebook group, I should say, as well as the Renegade Painters. If you don't follow those, make sure that you go and join so that you get a chance every other week when we do these streams to vote for which miniature you would like to see painted. I pick 3 that I'm interested in, and then you pick which one we actually paint. King Sphinx won by a landslide. So this must be something that y'all want to see, and I am happy to oblige. What else was I going to talk about? There was something else I was going to say in this little intro, and it completely slipped my mind. So I'm not going to say it. And if I think of it, I will let you know. So enough about that. Let's go down to the table. I have a small surprise, and it's not really a surprise. It's more of a, oops, I didn't make a mistake. It's weird. Anyway, I'll just tell you when we go down. So normally, before we go down, all right. I'm all over the freaking place today. Okay, normally, I just prime the miniature, and we start from scratch. And I know there are some of you out there that follow along with me while I'm painting. I have to apologize in advance because with this miniature, I did do something else to it prior to the stream that you'll have to catch up to, you'll have to do to get caught up. Why did I do that? I did that for 2 reasons. One, this is a very large miniature that has a lot of surface area to cover, and it's not as straightforward as, say, Goldar, right, where the majority of the model was gold, and you just did that, and then the model was pretty much done. This is a little more sophisticated than that, and it's going to take a little bit more concentration. And the other reason that I did this is because there's such a large surface area that I used contrast paint on that I needed time for it to dry. Had I done this live on stream, we would have been sitting here staring at each other for 30 minutes. So I did it ahead of time. So that's my apology in advance. Down to the table. Psh, 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 psh. All right. Here is King Sphinx. So you can immediately see he is not just primed. So what I've done here is primed him in Wraithbone, and then I have covered all of the parts that are gray, white-ish in this contrast gray color. And as you can see, he looks primarily black. So I've actually never used this contrast color before. I've had it sitting here, and I've just never used it. And when I was looking at which paint colors I was going to use as far as the contrast goes, let me zoom in on that a little bit since it's such a big model. When I was looking at the miniature and I was like, which color should I use? I looked at the black and I was like, no, that's going to be too dark. Let me use the gray. And it looks almost exactly like the black. So that's one of the problems with the contrast paints is if you don't use them, then you just don't know. And I'd never used this before, so I didn't know. But it's okay because the recesses are nice and dark, which is going to allow us to do a lot of dry brushing to get those colors back up. We're going to use 3 different grays to make him more of his natural gray color, and then we'll go from there. How much detail I put into the wings, I'm not sure yet. Some photos, reference photos, especially from the show, his wings are just gray, right? There's nothing on them. However, there are some toys that I saw where they did some really cool stuff with the wings. Made them very Egyptian colors. There's also one shot from the show where there's like little dots on his feathers and things like that. So I don't know how much detail we're going to go into, but that's that. And again, I mostly did this in advance because look at how big the model is, right? It's a lot of surface area to cover. One thing that we need to decide kind of in advance, I'm going to throw this out to the chat, see what you guys want me to do, and then I'll go from there once we get to it. Some of the... I think that the majority of the other pieces are gold, right? So anything that you see on him that's yellowish gold, I think that the intent is for it to be gold, right? I think that's what they wanted, was him to be like that blue and gold color. However, there's some screenshots where it looks yellow to me. So do you want to see this painted yellow, or do you want to see it painted gold? We could also do a mix, I guess, although that's a little tougher to do. But yeah, I'm going to leave that up to you. You don't have to decide right now because we're not going to get to that right now, but I'd love to see in the chat what you guys would like to see. See me do yellow or see me do gold. I feel like we've done a crap ton of gold on this channel for the last few streams, so maybe you want to see yellow instead. I don't know. Can you post the voting poll? How many of the miniatures are voted on, so I can see how many voted for each? Yeah, let me pull that up real quick. So on the Power Rangers Tabletop Studios Facebook group, there were 43 votes total. King Sphinx was voted on 22 times. The Toad dude, I can't remember his name, was 14, and Blue Beast was 6. And then on the painting group, it was... There were 28 votes total. It was 18, 4, and 4, with King Sphinx taking the 18. So it was really high voting. How are you on your new paints? Still using them? Yeah, so I've been enjoying the new paints. I think they're great mixed in with the other paints. I don't know that it will permanently... oh, next time. Yeah, I can do that. I don't know that it will permanently replace all my paints just yet. I haven't explored them enough, but we'll see. It's still early. I need to do much more testing with them. The colors of the wings from the toys are on the actual show costume, too. The footage just didn't pick it up well. I always thought he was yellow in the show. Gold. So we have 1 vote gold, 1 vote yellow. Yeah, I mean, if it is a gold, it's a very matte gold, you know what I mean? Which makes it look more yellowy. I may just do yellow. I don't know. All right, so enough blabbing. Here's our base that we're going to be working with. So I'm going to take my first type of gray. I'm going to use this Dawnstone. Mostly because I don't have a gray I want to use in Pro Acryl. This is the lightest gray on Pro Acryl, and as you can see, it's significantly darker, and I don't want to... if I do yellow, would I add purple? Yes, I'll show everybody that technique that I learned in my last stream. So in case you all missed it, or didn't care to watch it, or didn't know about it, last Thursday, I did my very first individual painting show, It's So Tiny, over on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Circle of Nerds. I painted up Boba Fett from Atomic Mass Games. There he is. Quick little shameless plug there. And what am I looking at? I got distracted. Oh, I need a dry brush. Which dry brush do I want to use? This one? That's a good one. Should I use the big one? I'll use the medium. So I'm going to use this Army Painter Masterclass Moderate Dry Brush. So anyway, on that stream, I used a technique that I had just learned that day, where you combine a little bit of purple with your yellows to help your yellows stay on your miniature better, so you don't have to do as many coats, because yellow can be a pain, as I've mentioned several times, and I'm sure everybody already knows. So if I do use yellow, I will show that technique off here as well. Alright, so this is that Dawnstone, like I said, and we're just going to dry brush. Not super light, but light enough that we can... The purpose here is not to completely cover up what we're doing. The purpose here is to make it more gray and less black. And we will obviously make this lighter because, as you know, he's not this dark. Maybe pink does do that, but the technique that I learned was purple, and it worked really, really well. So going forward, I will use purple until I try the pink method, and that serves me better. I apologize for the shaky camera. It's because I'm dry brushing using the table as my kind of brace here so that the miniature doesn't go flying off the thingy. And yeah, might need a little more paint here. I'm also using a new wet palette. That if you did not watch my what stream was it the first time I used that? That was last Tuesday, the G.I. Joe stream. So I got a new wet palette. If you already have a wet palette, I don't recommend necessarily switching, but I had a coupon and I can't resist. I have the self-control of like a toddler when it comes to buying new things to try out for painting. So I purchased it and I love it. So far, it is my favorite. It is my favorite wet palette that I've ever used. It's just super good. And it comes with a bunch of really neat stuff. And it was $25 with the coupon that I had on Amazon. I think you can still get the coupon if I'm not mistaken. You just go on their website. They give you a coupon to use on Amazon. And then, if you buy it, you show them proof of purchase, they will send you brushes for free. And I got those brushes in the mail as well. And I have not used them yet. But they're 4 detailed brushes. They look like this. So 4 of the exact same size, which is, I mean, I would have liked to have seen 4 different sizes, but what's nice about 4 of the same size is they'll last a while, right? As one dies out, I have another one. And they're really nice sizes for detailing and stuff. So I really need to create an affiliate link for stuff like that. I mean, I do have some affiliate links already, but not for that particular item. So that way you guys can purchase it if you want, and I would get a small portion of that. A little more on the wet, or on the, I keep saying wet, on the dry brush. Do I think the purple trick would work on gold? I do not, unless it was like a metallic purple. I'm gonna hold this guy upside down here. I just think that the, you know, normal non-metallic of the purple would kind of ruin the purple a little bit. This inside wing is a little tough. Another thing that I wanted to mention, and I'll mention it really quickly before I forget. I wanted to mention it when we first started, but it completely slipped my mind. Let me finish doing this color so we can switch colors. Some of these spots are tough. Okay, so if you guys have this same miniature, you may have experienced the same thing. So his staff was extremely warped. So what I've done is, and in order to fix it, what I've done is, you can see here, I've cut it off the base. So it was on the base before, and now you can see I've cut it. And then I used the hot water method to straighten it, and now you'll see it's a little bent, but not too bad, and it sits off of the base, which I'm totally fine with because it makes this staff straight. So I don't know if everybody got a wonky staff handle, but mine was extremely warped and I wanted to straighten it. So that's the method that I used. You probably could do hot water and just, not cut it off the base, but you can see there that it makes it pretty straight by keeping it off the base. If I put it on the base, you can already see that, like, in order to push it, I have to bend it in. So that's what I did. So if you're wondering why mine looks slightly different, it's because I cut that off. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to go to Admin Gray. Same technique here. Probably be just as liberal with the dry brushing. We'll see. I'm not going to clean my brush because it's all gray, and there's really no need to clean the brush. Plus, I don't want to have to wait for this brush to dry. Yeah, his staff does look like Riddler's cane, doesn't it? It's really tough to dry brush under the wings on the arms and stuff. I don't super care about it, but I do care about it because of my perfectionist ways. So it is bothering me, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Yes, it was. That is the contrast paint that I used. Almost grabbed the wrong paint. Awesome. The difference between the Dawnstone and the Admin Gray is not huge, but it is enough. Yeah, my weekend was brutal too. I did so much yard work. I'm still so tired. And then my puppy decided to wake us up at 5 this morning. We're like, really? Trying to get a little bit of extra sleep. We went to bed early last night and it made no difference because the puppy woke us up. And it was really hard to go back to sleep. But I did see Doctor Strange last night, which was fun. It's always nice going to the movies. Honestly, I just love going to the movies. I don't even care what I see. What was your dry brush? Trying to find a good one. This is by Army Painter. They make a masterclass set. It comes with 3 different kinds. So this is like the medium. And then it also comes with the large and the small. So I'm using the medium right now, but it comes in a set. If you just look up Army Painter Masterclass Dry Brushes, you should be able to find them. So this is after 2 grays. You can see we're kind of getting there. Next, we're going to go to Celestial Gray. This one's going to be slightly harder to use because it is a base coat. It is a base paint, so... but we're still not going to... what was I going to say? We're not going to water it down or anything. Start on the wings in the back. Getting there. Alright, what color should I do next? Maybe I'll go with bright warm gray, ivory, and bright ivory. Maybe I'll try this bright warm gray by Pro Acryl. I don't know how this is going to look, so... And unfortunately, I don't have... this isn't in a pot, which makes dry brushing a little more tough. So I'm going to put it on my dry palette, not on my wet palette. Again, I don't want it to get wet, because I'm trying to keep this dry. But not brushing, not wiping off my brush or cleaning my brush. We'll see how this looks. That's a lot of paint still on there. I'm being much lighter with this coat. A, because I don't know if I'm going to like the way it looks. And B, because I want to only slightly start to cover up that gray. Although this is a gray, so I shouldn't say that. So, I don't know anything about this character, so if you do, let's drop that info in the chat, because you know I love when you guys educate me on the characters of the show. I feel like this was a Mighty Morphin bad guy, but I could be wrong. Yeah, he does give off that Goldar Mumra feel. I'm going up to Althuan Gray. This will probably be the last gray that I use, because this one's going to be pretty white. And I don't want him to be white, because he's not white. He is a very light gray. I'm deliberately starting on the back with my dry brushing because I want to make sure that the colors look good, and if I screw up on the back, I'm much more okay with it than if I screw up on the front. If you ever wanted to give a model like a stone look, like if you just wanted to paint your miniatures to look like statues, for example, this technique is very good. You can just paint the miniature in, like, prime it in black, and then start working your way up to grays and stuff, and just get lighter with your dry brushing as you go. And it gives it, I mean, you can already see that it, it almost looks like stone statue. Alright, I am pretty happy with that skin color. It's not amazing, but I like it. So, if I like it, that's all that matters, right? Because it's my miniature. Just like when you're painting, the only thing that matters is if you like it, because it's your miniature. Alright, now I'm going to clean my brush. Dry brushes, especially nice dry brushes like this, really need to be properly cleaned with brush cleaner, which, if you don't know how to do that, shameless plug, I have a 60-second tip video on my Facebook page and on my Instagram and on my TikTok on how to clean paintbrushes. So you should go and check those out. So I will set this aside so that when I go upstairs, I can clean that. All right, so that was, so let's see, we started with a contrast of, what is it, Blascolactum, I don't know, gray, this guy, I don't know how to pronounce that. And then we went to Dawnstone, and then we went to Administratum Gray, and then we went to Pro Acryl's Bright Warm Gray, and then we finished off with Althuan Gray. So that was a lot, and now you know. Okay, so the next thing that I think I'm going to do is paint his, no, we'll save that for later. Maybe I'll do all the yellow now. So I do think I'm going to use yellow. Yellow is more fun to highlight than gold is, too. I just need to decide if I want it to be Xandri Dust or Averland Sunset. I think I'm going Averland Sunset here. And I am going to put a little bit of purple in it. I'm going to use this Nagrath Knight. Just the darkest purple that you have is fine. It does not have to be exact. King Sphinx was a one-off Mighty Morphin Power Ranger. He appears in the 4th episode. He became the most iconic monster with merchandise after his footage was used in the original unaired Day of the Dumpster pilot. Nice. Okay. So, I'm going to put a little bit of this on my palette. I gotta decide which size brush I want to use here. Let's go with this one. I've been really liking these brushes, which I didn't think I was going to. And I did. So a little bit on my palette. As a matter of fact, let me show you my palette, what I'm doing. I'm going to turn this. Okay, so you can kind of see. So I'm putting like 2 scoops on my palette like that. And then I have my purple. And I'm putting just like a dab in there. And if it ends up being too dark, which that is, we can re-brighten it with some more Averland Sunset. And it is going to make it like a mustard color, but I'm okay with that because we're going to try and do some highlights on it and stuff. Get a little bit of water. In case you're wondering why there are nickels down, another tip that I learned recently is to put down coins in the corners of your palette to keep it from curling up. Works great. Because that is not a technique that I used last week. And like in the middle of my stream, the corners were all curling and it just was not fun. Alright, let's start with these kneecaps here. But look how smooth that yellow is going on. One coat. The Pro Acro was bright, warm gray. But yeah, look how smooth that's going on. It's just so good. That purple trick. Absolutely love it. I don't know what playlist this is because I put it on Surprise Me, which is just supposed to be random. But I love this, like, retro... I don't know if you guys can hear it. I don't know, like, that's one of the hardest parts about streaming is I don't know how loud stuff is. As a matter of fact, somebody told me today that they watched my stream last week and that they couldn't really hear me very well and they couldn't hear the music hardly at all. So I cranked the music a little bit for this stream. I did not crank myself because I feel like my volume is okay. But if there's ever a time when you guys are like, oh no, I can't hear the music, or I can't hear you, just please let me know. Because I can hear myself, but at my volume. I can't hear it at your volume. So I have no idea what's too loud and what's not. Basically, the purpose of the music is when I'm talking, it shouldn't be distracting from what I'm saying. But when I'm not speaking at all, you know, it just kind of fills that void so that you're not just listening to me breathe. Man, look how smooth that yellow is going on. Love that purple trick. I'll be making a tip guide about that for sure. Another trick that I learned about yellow, which does not always work, is to paint a layer of brown underneath and then paint the yellow on top of the brown, which I'd imagine purple would work as well. But I've always heard brown. All right, let me move this up so you can see what I'm doing. But I'm loving this this purple technique. It's easier for me than doing a but yeah, if you've ever painted with yellow, you know how difficult of a color it can be. Personally, I'm, you know, in my one of my more cheat techniques is to use contrast paint to paint yellow, but it ends up being very bright, whereas this is a nice warm yellow. It's almost like a mustardy yellow. But again, we can highlight that. So you paint pink down first and then throw yellow over top of it? Is that the trick? I wonder if you could do it with like a bright pink, or if it has to be like a dark pink, like Screamer pink, or... Because if it's like Screamer pink, that makes sense, because that's more of a purple than a pink. But I wonder if you could do it with like this kind of pink, you know? But if you use like Screamer pink, that's more of a purple than a pink, you know? So that probably works with this trick as well. I could probably use that Screamer pink as well. I just saw on the thing that I watched that gave me this idea, it was like, use the darkest purple that you can. But I guess if you don't want to mustard it down, like this is, all right, we're making some progress. Sorry, I'm just so excited about how good this freaking yellow is going on. It's like a completely different color. It's crazy. Craziness. Whew. Sorry you can't see this because the dang wing's in the way. Let's see if I can turn it so you can see what I'm doing. Normally with yellow, you're going to have to do like using normal yellow. Yeah, you might be able to. I just don't know how much yellow in the mix starts to then take away the purple. I would have to experiment, right? Because obviously you still need that purple in there to do what I'm doing, so I'm not sure the more yellow you add, how much it takes away the effect of the purple. Like I said, I'd have to experiment. This is a very awkward miniature to hold while I'm trying to paint. Hopefully I'm keeping that all in frame. It's hard to like look at the screen to see where it is, look at the miniature to paint, and keep it all in focus. So hopefully you're seeing most of what I'm doing. Is there any yellow on his staff? There is, right? This top part. Yeah, that part I might paint that gold just to differentiate the metal of the staff versus the just the yellow of his uniform here. I think that would look cool. All right, let's start looking at his headdress, since that's obviously the most iconic thing about him. Let's look at his face here. So the actual character, that thing on his head, it looks like a snake. So it's partially yellow, partially blue. Unfortunately, the miniature headpiece here does not translate to a snake. It looks like it's just an antenna, basically. So I may have to take some liberties here. Because it certainly does not look like a snake. I'm going to need some more yellow here. I'm not going to put purple in this because I'm just going to combine it with the little bit I have left. It will be slightly brighter, but that's okay. Because again, I'm going to highlight all this anyway. Matter of fact, I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Use the tiny one? No, I don't think I need that small. Alright, let's see. So it looks like the yellow is the in-between colors here. I can already tell a difference with this yellow not having as much of that purple in there. It probably doesn't translate to the screen very well, but it's definitely different. The consistency is different, and it's a little more transparent. I have not. I believe that with the Time Force, I'll be receiving it with the first wave, probably the first shipment that gets sent out, but it will be very close to when everybody else gets it. It's not going to be like a super early copy because they just don't have any. But I was told that I am on a list, so when new stuff comes out, it will just basically auto ship here. Same with G.I. Joe, so that's cool. So hopefully you'll see it here on the channel just slightly before everybody else gets it. I don't have any plans yet, but as soon as I do, I'll definitely let you know. I really didn't want to put more on my palette, but I think I'm gonna have to. Yellow and a little dab of purple. I've been trying to be more conscious of how much paint I put on my palette because I end up wasting a lot because I always put more than I need. But then sometimes I don't put enough, like this time. That's too much purple. Yeah, that's way too much purple. See, like now I'm gonna end up having a ton of yellow because I put too much purple. Now I have to add more yellow. Brush is failing me today. I'm going to switch to a smaller one, I think.
laughing the nights away. Will things ever be the same? I was your man and I want it back that way. Chasing our dreams for what it would seem. A family to
If I wanted to repaint a miniature, it depends on how thick my paints were. And you can kind of tell just by looking at it, like if it looks like you could do several more layers over top of it or not. If you don't think you could, I would strip the model and start from scratch. It's actually a good Tuesday tip video, is how to strip a miniature. Alright, pretty happy with the yellow. I think that's all the yellow I will be highlighting that up so it doesn't look as mustardy as it looks on the screen right now. But I'm going to let that yellow dry before I move on to the rest of the headdress. Yes, I will make a Tuesday video about that. I'm going to grab some metallics here. I'll go to my Pro Acryl metallics and see how they look. This is Rich Gold. Rich Gold Pro Acryl. Sorry, this is like a super weird way to hold this miniature. It's hard to even call this thing a miniature since it's so large. It's more action figure or mini statue. Just such a big hunk of plastic here. Which, don't get me wrong, is super duper cool. It's just a little awkward to hold and paint for y'all on screen. If you don't have this color, I would definitely just do Retributor armor. It's kind of my go-to gold. Again, I'm just trying these Pro Acryl out to see how I like it. So far, the only color I don't recommend from Pro Acryl is the black. I thought it was terrible. Just did not like it at all. I'm going to try and use a blue metallic on the staff part, the bottom staff part, to see how it looks. I may not like it. I don't know that it's dark enough. It's not. What can I add to it? Maybe a dark metal color? Let's see. Not a blue color at all. That's alright. I think I was better off with the blue metallic. Maybe I'll cover that up with the blue. The blue is just light and it looks like super. I just wanted it to definitely look metallic. Let's see how this looks. like this light blue metal color. This is, what color is this? Cobalt metal from scale 75. I don't use scale 75 very often. I should not have bought as many colors as I did when I bought them. But every once in a while you find a color that's perfect for what you're doing, so having more colors in my arsenal is not necessarily a bad thing. I'll probably darken this up or do a second coat in a little bit once that dries, and it should make it a little more blue looking. Hopefully you can see that that's bluish metal. The nub on the bottom is gold. Good looks. I will fix that right now. I'm gonna have to go over that again as well once it's dry. Alright, now I guess we'll start working on the blue of the headdress. So I don't know what color I like for that yet. I'm going to start with this Caribbean blue from scale 75 and see how I like that once I put it on the Mini. But I may change that. I'm not 100% sure yet. Again, this is one of those things that you either like the color that you're working with for scale 75 or you don't. So I won't know until I try it out. Scale 75 tends to be difficult to use. Yeah, scale 75 metallic black is excellent. That is one of my favorite colors from that line, for sure. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That is the exact color that I was looking for. At the top of the cane, there is a blue stripe, same color as the staff, between the hook and the ball. So, are you talking about this upper stripe or this bottom stripe, or both? So here's the ball in the middle, and there's a stripe there and a stripe there. Looks like both stripes. It's hard to say with the bottom one. Okay. I will just do both because I think that might look cool. I'm still not sure. It's a much darker blue than when I'm painting it, right? It's like super blue. Yeah, I may change that. Because you guys know me, I don't like things that aren't 100% screen accurate very much. I do wish that was a deeper blue, but it's not. And I kind of have a perfect, like, just regular blue that I can use, so I guess that's what I'm going to do. So now that Multiverse of Madness, well, I tried darkening the blue with the dark metallic, and it just made it dark metallic, basically. I don't know what else to put in that blue to darken it without it taking the metallic effect away. I mean, I could put a darker blue in there, but I feel like it's going to take the metallic away. But I'll give it a shot. Or maybe I just use straight silver with the blue and see if that works. We'll see. I will give it a shot in just a moment. So like I was saying, now that Multiverse of Madness has come and gone, next thing that I need to be excited... Oh, son of a biscuit. Oh, I got it off. Next thing for Louie to be excited about is Stranger Things Season 4, which I think comes out in like 2 or 3 weeks. So mega hype on that. More excited about that than I was about Doctor Strange, so... And they just released a launch trailer for, not a launch trailer, but a teaser for the next season of Cobra Kai, which comes out in September, which is also very, very hype. I don't know if anybody here watches those shows, but if you do, hopefully you're as excited as I am. Also curious in the chat who here has backed the G.I. Joe game that's currently on Kickstarter for Renegade. This song has got me hype. Like, I just want to, like, go to a rave. I think last week in chat we had talked about in the GI Joe chat. Sorry, I gotta move this closer to my face here. For a quick second. Books that I was reading. So last night I officially finished the last Harry Potter book. So I've now read all 7 of those, and I need book recommendations because I'm gonna have to download a new book tonight, or I'm not gonna be able to sleep. I got a few good suggestions that I think I'm going to check out, but if anybody else has any, I'm cheesy and I like young adult books like Harry Potter. It doesn't have to be about wizards, but, you know, something in the fantasy genre probably. Maybe sci-fi, depending on the book. I also tend to like books that have short chapters, like Dan Brown's books. I've read 3 or 4 of Dan Brown's books, and what's great about him is, like, he'll have some chapters that are like 2 pages. I feel like I burn through the book faster because you tend to want to keep reading. You're like, oh, I'll just finish another chapter, and next thing you know, you've read more than what you normally would. Ooh, dropped him. I'm going to have a hard time incorporating German gray into this model. I usually like to paint German gray into every single one of my models that I paint, and I am having a very tough time thinking of a way to incorporate that color into this miniature, because he just has no really dark colors on him. Oh, you know what? I answered my own question. Never mind. Scratch that. Don't answer it for me, because I figured it out as I was talking. That headdress blue is also used for the lower part of the shoulder pads and as a highlight on the loincloth. Let's see. See, it just depends what screen capture you look at. I'm looking at a fight between him and the Blue Ranger right now, and his whole shoulder pads are gold. They don't have that blue trim, so it really just depends. Maybe I will incorporate it in there, though, because I do see some scenes where it is. It's really tough to say. There's just so many different things. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I do need to grab some of my gold real quick here. Yeah, it totally just depends which picture you're looking at, basically. But I do like the idea of incorporating it into different parts of the miniature. Let's grab my German gray. I don't know if I like it on the eyeball. Some stuff shows the eyeball as being gray, other ones show the eyeball as being blue. I don't know. I don't know what to believe anymore. That's the eyeball on his chest, by the way. I don't know. Maybe I'll paint it. I don't know. What do you guys think? Looking for opinions. Maybe it reflects his mood. This is Calidor Sky. That's this blue that I'm using. Try and combine a little bit of this with German gray. See if I can get that eye color to be better. guess nobody can see it, so it doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, I didn't think about his little tail, huh? And then on the reference picture I'm looking at, there's like a stripe here as well. I don't know if you guys see that, but I do, so I'm adding it. Probably made it slightly bigger than it needs to be, but I think it looks pretty cool, so I'm just trying to make sure the line is straight. Like that. Okay, so I'm going to take what's left of that blue and what's left of the German gray on my palette here and mix them together to get them to be like a German gray blue. Okay, fine with that. What color are his eyes? Are they red? Look red to me. I'm gonna get some Screamer pink, a very small amount, and put it inside his mouth. That's kind of like my go-to way of doing the inside of monster mouths. Kind of cover the whole thing. And then I'll cover the teeth. With like a bone color. I'm not gonna leave his mouth like that. Just so you're aware and you don't think that I'm weird. I mean, I am weird, but man, I wish that I had an unlimited amount of time on these streams. There's still so much more I want to do. And I already can see that the time is counting down on me. Oh, that's not the right color. I accidentally got some. which is crazy that that I'm gonna end up running out of time to completely finish it how I want, because I even did those beginning steps where I you know what I told you with the contrast paint. Ooh, I got blue on the wing. Dang it. Enough for a 2-part stream? No, I don't think so. I just need like another half hour to an hour, really. What I could do is wait and then do another big miniature next time, and then like week 3, call it, you know, the 3rd stream, finish both of the big models. I could do that. I just like finishing the model so we can get as many models done as possible. For me, like the sweet spot for a model is like 3.5 hours, depending on how detailed it is and how detailed I want to do the base. Boba Fett, for example, that I painted on stream the other day, that clocked in at 3.5 hours. But I also did a very dynamic basing, and I really detailed the crap out of that. Like, that was an extremely detailed paint job. So, you know, 2.5 to 3 hours to do a slightly less good job, I guess. Post how many Power Ranger models you don't have painted. There's still so many. Oh, there's still so many. I mean, since I started doing this for Renegade, I've gotten a ton done, but I know that there's still a bunch that I haven't done. I don't know how to paint this symbol here. Should I paint it with this blue? I know that this is probably not super screen accurate. Not screen accurate at all, probably. I used Calidor Sky on the metallic staff thingy, mobobber. I'm grabbing some Ushabity bone for the claws. Claws on the feet, claws on the hands. Although his hands are both closed, so you don't really need a ton of this on there. But Ushabity bone is a great claw slash bone color. If I had more time, I would probably paint these like a dark brown first, and then I would highlight them with this color. But due to time constraints, we're just going to go straight into this color, because it really doesn't make a huge difference. That's just me being nitpicky at that point, doing the brown. It just gives the nail like a dirty look, right? You could also achieve that with a brown wash over top of the nail, and then re-highlighting. But again, due to time, in the interest of time, or we'll be here till morning, and I'll be able to say good morning, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. A little bit of Truman Show for you. Oh yeah, Truman Show's excellent. Love that movie. Let's put this back. I've made a huge mess on my desk of the colors that I've used, because I don't put them back after I've done using them. What do I want? I want German gray again. Where's my German gray? German gray, there it is. Need a little more German gray on my palette, because as somebody made the great suggestion, it would be very good for the tail. So I'm going to put that on the tail. I'm just kind of like brushing it on wildly. Give it a cheap look of fur. I actually probably should have dry brushed it, but what are you going to do for G.I. Joe if you don't have any more? The G.I. Joe streams aren't happening until I get more, so I will not be streaming again next Tuesday for that, because I don't have any more miniatures. Which hopefully that changes soon, but in the meantime... Alright, I'm just going to end up painting this whole dang thing German gray. I was trying to make it look like fur, and it didn't work very well, so just going to paint the whole thing German gray. And again, if I had more time, I would highlight the crap out of this tail because I would love for it to look like actual fur, which I could do with highlighting. But the only thing I'm going to be able to really highlight is the yellow/gold, because that's the most important thing. And I said I was going to do it. Although I do need to do the base before the stream is over as well. I'm really happy with the skin and the feathers, though, too. What was I doing? Eyes. I'm going to do the eyes next. I'm going to get a little bit of black. I'm basically just filling the eye sockets with the black. Then I'm going to grab some red. All right, quick 10 minutes gold highlighting. Because I need 5 minutes at the end for the base, which I'm probably just going to do a black base for now. Again, because of time. Time stinks. Time stinks. Yeah, yeah. Time stinks. Tom Holland is your spirit animal. Well, if you're gonna have a spirit animal, I guess that's a good spirit animal to have. This is a little bit of Uriel Yellow. I mean, some people say I'm their spirit animal, so... man, it's frustrating. I mean, this was nice and straight, and then you put a little bit of paint on it, and it starts warping again. My staff. Down to the nitty-gritty. That should look better when it dries. It looks like crap right now, but... Oh, man. Well, I see the flaws. I see things that I would love to have explored if I had more time. Maybe I will put this in the not done bin instead of on the finished shelf. Because yes, I have one of those, a finished shelf. And maybe we'll explore it again one day. Like the back is significantly brighter than the front, and I hate it. I mean, it's pretty good, right? It's not bad. It's the... I shouldn't have touched this back here. That's the part that's bothering me the most. Because now it's just brighter than the front. Granted, I could just take a picture of the front and no one will know, but I know. And so now it's just gonna bug me. And the top up here needs to be brighter as well, since that's where, you know, light comes from. Is this song like a throwback at some Ninja Turtle rap? Keep saying ninja rap. TMNT2. Vanilla Ice. The last stream you did was an extra hour plus, yeah. That's probably where I'm getting hung up, right? Because I know that I want more time. But it's pretty good, right? I mean, he looks pretty sweet. It definitely doesn't look bad. I just want to do more. I just want to keep going. And that is why, if you enjoy my painting and you would like to see me go really deep into painting a model, you should check out my show, It's So Tiny, on Thursday nights, every Thursday night, twitch.tv/Circle of Nerds. We paint all kinds of good stuff. Like I said last week, we painted Boba Fett from Star Wars Legion. And I have no time limit on those streams. So we went, like I said, we went about 3.5 hours or so. And we were able to do lots of detail, a really sweet base. We talked, laughed, had a blast. So every Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, make sure that you check that out. And I'm just going to go ahead and plug my stuff while I'm finishing up this base. I'm just using straight black here. You can follow my socials. That's where I post teasers and stuff for my show, It's So Tiny. I also post Tuesday tip videos. I post polls. I post memes. I post finished products and TikToks and all kinds of stuff related to miniature painting. I even promoted Renegade's G.I. Joe the other day. So you can find the Facebook and the TikTok at It's So Tiny, one word. And you can find my Instagram at The Real Daddy Louie. Unfortunately, It's So Tiny was taken on Instagram by a lady who used to take, back in like 2013, took some photos of some very small things and called herself It's So Tiny. And now I can't I can't use It's So Tiny on Instagram. Sad face. So yeah, at The Real Daddy Louie on Instagram, It's So Tiny on Facebook and TikTok. We also have a YouTube, youtube.com/Circle of Nerds. I have already posted my stream from Thursday, the Boba Fett stream, up on that YouTube. So you can go and rewatch it if you missed it or you want to just watch it again. Let's see, what else? Make sure that you are part of Renegade's Facebook groups. So they have two related to Power Rangers. One is Renegade Painting or Renegade Painters. And the other one is Tabletop Power Rangers. I don't remember the exact name because it's a really long name. And every other week when I do these, I post a poll on there so that you can vote for what miniature you want to see. And I just... I pick the one that has the most votes, and that's the one we paint up. So make sure you're a member of that. If you haven't already, make sure that you go and check Kickstarter. There's only like 3 days left on the G.I. Joe Kickstarter, so you want to make sure that you get on that so that you can get the Kickstarter exclusive Snake Eyes miniature. So make sure that you go to Kickstarter today or in the next 2 or 3 days so that you don't miss out on that. As always, I want to thank Renegade for allowing me to do these. They're so much fun. They mean the world to me. Literally life-changing. So thank you, as always, to Renegade for letting me do that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is King Sphinx. Not too bad for 2 hours and 1 minute. We went over 1 minute. Tips for stripping figures. Yes, I will work on that for probably next Tuesday. because this Tuesday's is already made, the one I'm going to post tomorrow, but I'll work on that for next Tuesday. And I hope that you enjoyed this stream. I hope he looks as cool to you as he does to me. I would keep going on the wings. I would highlight the tail. I would do a cool base. I would keep highlighting the gold. There's just so much, but only so much we can fit in a video. So, yeah. So, thank you for joining me. Remember to take care of yourself, take care of each other, play your games, and paint your miniatures. And I hope to see you this Thursday, twitch.tv/Circle of Nerds for It's So Tiny. And if not, I will be back in 2 weeks here on Renegade, which is calendar date. I really should write these down ahead of time. The 23rd, Monday, May 23rd, we will be back here for some more Power Ranger painting. So I love you guys, and I will see you soon. Bye.